Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
Well, this is the Alpha Sessions, and I am very pleased to be joined by our special guest today, which is Ella Clayton. Welcome
Hello.
to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, and it really is a special day because as we're recording this, today is the launch date of your new album, which is brilliant.
So the first part of my new album.
The first part of the new album, exactly, and you've released 4 tracks on the album so far, with more to come. And the album is called Murmurations, which is an amazing title, by the way, for an album. And it is obviously one of the tracks that's from the album as well. So tell us a little bit about the story behind the single and the title.
Well, the song came first, and it's a sort of letter to someone that you'd never send, and very much like rooted in Brighton. I used to live in Brighton, and throughout the winter, above the old pier, you see the starlings do this amazing sort of aerial dance, which is called Murmurations. And Brighton in the winter can be quite bleak. And that's like a real, lifeline. Me and my friend used to sort of just go and sit on the beach in the evenings and just watch it. And so it's nostalgic, and it's full of yearning and not regret, but just, the idea of things that you didn't say. And maybe regret, but also there's a sense of like things working out as they should, So then the reason I love the word just sonically, like the sound of it.
Intriguing word, isn't it?
Yeah. And then also I was thinking, because I didn't set about initially writing an album, it just happened that I had like songs building that seemed to work really well together, and so I thought as a title for the album it was appropriate because each song's like a little piece of myself, and then it forms in this one kind of collective thing, like the birds. Right. So the birds are all like individual things, and they come together and make this, and I also put on some shows, some gigs under the same name, and we made a lyric video, me and my friend Rachel Winton, who's a very talented visual artist. So it's sort of like, these disparate pieces that come together and form a whole thing.
And you obviously say this is part 1, so you're going to sort of add
soft
to the album.
launch.
A soft launch, I like it. So do you already know the other songs that are going to be part of the album? And sort of as you started to form this album, did you then write specifically for the album, or was it a case of bringing together other pieces of work that you've been working on?
So I recorded the whole thing with a producer called Lester Salmons, and we started in around 2020 properly, like recording with other musicians, really talented friends of his, and they're all written and recorded and nearly all mixed and mastered. But as I sort of, as I say, like started just writing songs and then realised that they all came from a sort of similar place. But I haven't written intentionally for. I haven't been like, oh, okay, I need one more song. Let me write one. They just sort of, come naturally, and then it's like what to do with them.
And you talked about the title track. Am I right in saying that you actually had sort of some of your friends help you write the lyrics to that track as well? Yeah,
I think there's a danger with trying to sort of, tell the truth about something. And I started with quite a specific experience and thinking about a specific person, and I just got stuck because it's, as I say, it's difficult trying to do justice to something that's, so I often find, leaving breadcrumbs of truth, but having a slight fictional or more broad narrative helps people to relate to songs as well. Yeah. And I lived with 3 wonderful girls at the time, and just asked them what they'd say to that person, because we all have one. But it's like, unfinished business or whatever, and they talked for a while, and I just wrote things down, and then that really spurred. Just the song was really easy to write after that. And it was quite an interesting way of doing it, and I have done it since.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And do you find that writing for yourself, do you find that quite therapeutic as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, completely. It's always been I can't really do anything else, just like if I have something that weighs heavy or that I'm trying to work out, there's something incredibly like cathartic and therapeutic about, and actually even just playing, because I don't really meditate, but when I'm concentrating on playing guitar and singing, you can't think about anything else, so you do end up in a sort of meditative state, or at least a really like mindful, so yeah, music, other people's music as well, has always had an incredibly like important and therapeutic role in my life.
And I guess I always find this with artists, that when you're sharing something so personal like that, how do you feel when you're having to perform that for the first time to an audience? Do you feel that sort of pressure, or do you hope that they'll just get something personal for them from it rather than hearing your story?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I definitely try when I'm performing to find that emotional place. And so like if it's a sad song, that can be quite intense sometimes. But in terms of anticipating the audience's reaction, I tend to just have a little bit of distance from that, really, because I know what it means to me, but people listening are bound to have different takes on it, and it becomes their version, So after I've written it and it's done, it's then, it's not really mine anymore.
Yeah.
In that way, which I really like. And again, when I listen to other people's music, like I have my own theories and like understandings of what they're talking about, and it strikes chords within me. So I just hope that it strikes chords within other people too.
I mean, it definitely does. I have to say, when I was listening to the tracks this morning as I came in, and I was listening to some of your music last night, you're one of those artists that you really stop to listen to every word. I mean, it's beautiful poetry anyway, but I can imagine being in one of those sort of folk bars where everyone is like pin drop silent and everyone listening to every word that you say, and I hope that's the experience that you do get when you gig. Sometimes,
I mean, that is the optimum. But no, definitely there've been some really great gigs, and even when people are talking, there's always one or two that are just sort of fixated, and come up afterwards and say, that it impacted them. So
yeah. Well, we'll talk more about the gig stuff later on, but in terms of then bringing this album together, tell us about some of the people that you worked on it with you, in terms of musicians and the producing team that you were talking about.
So Lester got in touch with me when I was like in my third year of uni, and just reached out and said that he'd be really up for sort of collaborating, and that he had a studio, and would I like to come and do some demos. So that's how it started, and I don't think either of us anticipated that there'd be an album at the end of it. Yeah. But slowly we were like, okay, no, that one's got to be in it, and that one's, and then he is in a band called the Odd 910 with Jade, Fabs, and Alex, and they're all like remarkable musicians. And so he got Fabs and Alex to come in and play the rhythm section. And it was in the summer of 2020, so it was like a weird time, and it was the first session we'd done that year, any of us, and particularly them. They're like, they do a lot of sessions with different artists and stuff. So it was quite a special day, and it was also really like tropical stormy. It was boiling hot, and then at one point it just like, like huge dollops of rain. Yeah. And we recorded, I think, like 4 or 5 songs that day. And the energy in those recordings is just, it's so exciting. And that's what Lester and I really connected on, is that we both really appreciate when recordings sound like you're in the room, and there's that live quality, there's that rawness. It's not necessarily like perfect takes, but the energy is there. And I think it made life a lot harder for him, but we played them all live. So so the drums were set up, and Lester and I were in the mixing room. He's on bass, and Alex was in the other little studio bit, but we were all connected, and we were like, okay, here we go. So it took quite a few sort of tries, and they were all sort of writing the drum parts and and the bass lines and everything as we went. But yeah, no, fantastic. And then Lester mixes, as he goes, and then does. Yeah, he's a whiz.
So, what's the plan for the rest of the album? Is there like a release plan that you've got over the coming weeks and months as to when the rest of it's going to come out?
Yes. So the first part is 4 songs, and then in around 6 weeks, the part 2 will come out, and that will be 4 new songs, but sort of added on to so it will be an 8-track physical thing, or digital. And then shortly after that, another 4 will make up a full-length album. So it will appear as a cover and 12 songs. And then I have a album launch headline show booked at the Waiting Room on the 29th of September. So that's going to be a full band. It's my first proper headline, really, but like first proper band show as well, and really excited about that. It's going to be brilliant. We haven't confirmed who's supporting yet, but it's sure to be a really special night. Hello, how have you been? Where to begin? It's been so long, but I've been catching traces of your face in different places where they don't belong. And I know you were in town lately for a weekend by the sea, but you didn't call me. And did you see the starlings' murmurations by the pier as the sun setting? 'Cause I've been waiting tables, and whenever I am able to, I drift away. Rehearse, replay all the things I didn't say. Maybe it's better that way. So you moved away. Paris, you say, but ain't it burning? Ain't it funny how the world is turning? Time the tyrant's trumpet blurred in marching line. 'Cause I've been waiting tables, saving pennies since last April, and I dream the day away. Rehearse, replay all the things I didn't say. Maybe it's better that way. And time is evil, and all the beautiful people around. And I'm wretched, burned out, all rags and misery. Woe, woe is me. And it's all the things I didn't say, all the ways I made you pay, and all the reasons it's still raining. And time is evil, and all the beautiful people around. And I'm wretched, burned out, all rags and misery. Woe, woe is me. And it's all the things I didn't say, all the ways I made you pay, and all the reasons it's still raining. Or maybe it's better that way.
The Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
So let's take you back to the start of the journey then, how it all started. Was music always part of your life, and was it part of your family?
Yeah. So my parents met in a band, in like a cover. Neither of them are like professional musicians, but they do. They used to play in bands, and just always playing music in my dad's basement has been like a part of our family's way of connecting with each other. And my brother plays keys, and so it's like a little cheesy family band. But yeah, no, I used to play in like sort of folk pubs when I was 8. I used to sing, and then choirs and all sort of things like that when I was younger. And then I sort of stopped when I was like 14, and then had a little. I still would play, but I wasn't sort of trying to perform. I got all shy.
Oh, really?
As teenagers do.
Yeah.
And then. Yeah, when I was at uni, I guess it was the prospect of not doing music, and it was just like, oh my God, no, I need to. Yeah. This is like I will die unhappy if I don't try and pursue this. So and started writing with purpose in that way. Yeah.
So who were your musical influences growing up? Who would you listen to?
So my dad is a massive sort of country and rock fan. Joni Mitchell was always playing, and other incredible female singers like Janis Joplin and Dolly Parton. Love it, Dolly. My mum is more like soul singer vibes, so lots of Aretha Franklin and Etta James and Donny Hathaway, and so like I was exposed to a lot of like incredible vocalists, and then I guess sort of when you carve your own path in your music taste, sort of like 14, 15, I don't know, maybe a bit younger, but I was really into like Bon Iver and all of those sort of teenage angst, like it's so melancholic and deep, and I feel it. But yeah, all sorts really. I listened to a huge range of music, like
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned those artists, because as I was listening yesterday, I was thinking in my mind that your sound is very, very soulful, but then Joni Mitchell sprung to mind as well. So obviously all those influences have come out.
Yeah.
In music.
I'd say it's like rooted in folk, but definitely I feel quite constricted by that genre title, and it's like, it's definitely got branches.
Yeah. And your bio says that you're a storyteller and a singer-songwriter. So did storytelling come first before the music, or was that? I guess
that's what I'm always doing in my songs. Yeah. I always try and like set a scene and tell a story. But yeah, always I've been writing like little. I just like words a lot. So
do you find though that the story or the lyrics always come before the music? Is that the way you would write normally?
Most of the time, but not always. Not always. But yeah, a lot of the time I'll have a little sort of like vignette image or something, and then work from that. And but sometimes it's totally the opposite way. I'm quite a chaotic songwriter in lots of ways. Like I'll have a sort of note on a scrap of paper that I'll find a little while later and be like, oh, I wrote that, that's good, you know, and then come back to it. I've tried doing the phone thing, but as in writing notes on your phone. I'm no good at that. I lose phones or break them, and then, you know, it's gone, and it's like, I just like writing things down properly. Yeah.
Do you find that do you put aside time specifically to songwrite, or is it more a case of as an idea comes into your head, you're like, right, now let's write a song?
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes inspiration strikes, and you know, it's just like stopping in the middle of the street. Not very much. But yeah, no, I especially in more recent times, I try and like work on it as a practice, because it's a muscle that you know.
And do you remember the first song that you wrote?
Oh God. Yeah, I think it was with my cousin. My nana died when we were 5, and we wrote a song. It's like, there's an angel walking in the sky, and performed it for our family.
Did you? Brilliant.
But always, you know, I didn't really think of myself as a songwriter. And then at uni, when I was like starting to write some of these songs that are on this first album, I was like, oh my, yeah, I've written loads. Like they're not great, but like, you know, I'd write songs for my friends, and I think it's just always been really satisfying, almost like a pattern, like when you fit words to a melody and they resonate with each other, and it's rhythmic. It's like a compulsive thing almost that I've always done, you know.
And you mentioned that obviously you were working on a lot of these songs back in 2020, which obviously was an interesting year for everyone really, but especially for the music industry. And therefore, obviously that year, rather than doing live gigs, you were doing a lot of the sort of Facebook live gigs, which a lot of people were doing. And I was watching some of them last night, and can I just say, like, the reaction from those is amazing. Like, you were having 5,000-6,000 odd people. Like, I mean, imagine like what sort of arena you could have, like, with all that. I mean, that's quite incredible, isn't it? Reaching out to that many people in one go. Did you think about that at the time or not?
Yeah, but it was so weird, you know. Like, I was just in my bedroom with my phone set up. I'm awful at technology as well, so there'd be like a good couple of minutes at the beginning where I'm like, sorry guys, just gonna put up the link, you know. That's
the charm of it though, isn't it?
Yeah. And then, you know, get really into a song and sort of forget where I was, and then I'd be like, okay, so all right, the next song is but no, definitely it was all we had at the all I had at the moment at that time, and in terms of like sharing music and connecting with people, and got involved with some really cool like music groups, I guess, you know, who I've worked with since. So yeah, no, I really appreciate all of those.
I was going to say, it's become a big thing, hasn't it? I mean, a lot of people now use Twitch, for example, where they're doing sort of weekly or even in some cases daily streams, because it clearly works for them, because they can reach such a big audience that way. And you were getting amazing comments, like, you know, sometimes 100, 200 odd comments from your music. So I guess that must have been quite encouraging. It was obviously a very different vibe to not have the sort of live interaction and applause and stuff. But would you consider going back to do any more of that stuff, or would you stick to just live stuff now?
I mean, definitely wouldn't swap out live music, live performances for streams entirely, but yeah, you know, if there was, I've seen so like Big Thief did for their album release, they did a sort of live stream concert, and it's that global reach, it's that, you know, there's definitely real tangible benefits to it, and if the production is better, I think, you know. But to be honest, if it was like, do you want to do a live stream on your phone in your bedroom, or like come and play at this bar, you know, I definitely
don't think there's ever people wanting to swap entirely, but I guess maybe as a thing alongside when you're trying to reach out to a lot of people. And
I'd definitely consider it.
So we're going to hear a track from you now, and this track is called For Any Man, which is actually going to be on installment 2 of the album, isn't it? Part 2. Yeah, exactly. So tell us a bit about this track.
So For Any Man is a breakup song, and it's sort of the process of untangling from someone and finding your power in yourself again, you know, that sort of, the chorus goes, you know, I won't break even for you, and you're so beautiful, but, you know, I won't change for any man. And it's sort of, it was speaking of therapeutic songs, it was what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
So I wrote it. Yeah.
And do you find that you sometimes take encouragement from your own lyrics, sort of, 6 months, a year later on, you'll be like, I needed to hear that.
Yeah. I think that's sort of, it's not conscious all the time when in the writing process, but that's often what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of speaking to myself a little pep talk.
Yeah.
Listen, you're not listening, so like you to miss the point. My words are wasted on you. And you're twisting the details, refusing to evolve. My words are wasted on you. They're wasted on you. They're wasted on you. But it's you and you're beautiful. But I won't break for any man. Even you, and you're so vulnerable, and I won't change for any man, for any man, for any man. And you kiss me, no, don't kiss me, you'll confuse where we are. And I need space to be. Now you miss me, oh, don't miss me, won't you loosen up your heart? I need space to breathe, space to breathe, space from you, even you, and you're beautiful, but I won't break for any man, even you, and you're so vulnerable, and I won't change for any man, no, for any man, for any man, for any man.
The Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
So let's go on to live gigs then. We've talked about the Facebook live gigs, but, this is the live gigs.
The live.
The live. And we had a chat not so long ago with an artist called Phil Maguire, who I know that you've worked with before, haven't you? And he's done so many live gigs. He's played probably just about every pub in London at some point, I think. But tell us about, for you personally, what is some of your experience of what makes a perfect gig for you?
Well, the obvious one is a really attentive audience. There are some places, we were speaking about this earlier, where it's sort of, the venue has a reputation for being somewhere that you kind of go and listen really closely, and the hosts there are very good at encouraging people to be quiet and pay attention. But I guess just what makes a good gig is good sound. Christ, that's really important and not a given.
No.
So like a good sound man that's like, you know, at the desk looking at you, ready to step in if something goes awry. Attentive audience. And
now you say that with a look on your face like you've had a few experiences otherwise.
I won't go into them, but it's part of the course, isn't it? You know, you just and it is good experience in that way. Like bad gigs are often more useful. Useful, is that right? I don't know, but just like I feel like I'm a better performer because sometimes you just have to keep going. And you know that it's kind of falling apart.
If a string breaks or something like that.
If a string breaks, as it did today, my string broke.
Yeah. But not that you'll tell from when you listen to the songs.
Well, hopefully not.
They sounded brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
So, I mean, any particular gig highlights that you've had, would you say? What one stands out for you of the ones that you played?
Well, I played my first festival this June, so this month, and it's a festival called Meadows in the Mountains, and it's literally on top of a mountain in Bulgaria.
Wow.
And I played on the main stage there at like 2 p.m, so a lot of people were just starting their day, kind of crawling out of their tents and getting a bit of food, and I had so many people come up to me being like, we just wept, because I think they were quite fragile from staying up the night before and coming down off various things. And that was, speaking of good sound, that was just such an incredible experience. I could hear my voice bouncing off the mountains coming back to me. And a friend was walking through the festival. He was running late and just started filming his walk because you could hear me like crystal clear. I know, across the festival, and apparently you could hear it on all the campsites, and that was really special. I'm very grateful to have had my first festival experience there. Also, Union Chapel. I played. I entered this New Voices competition.
And you were one of the winners, you should say as well.
Yeah. So the prize was for 5. I think it was 5 or 6 of us to open for a poet called Sophia Tucker, and got to play 3 songs at the Union Chapel, which was just amazing. You know, I've been to a lot of gigs there. I saw Frazee Ford there like a month before, so to be on that stage was just and I wasn't that scared. It's strange. Really? I was nervous before, but as soon as I was out there, I was like, no, I got this.
I belong here. Yeah. So in a dream scenario, if you could imagine having one person in the audience that would come up to you and say, come and play live with me, like, who would be your dream collaboration live that you would have come?
Oh my God, there's so many people. But my mind went straight to Guy Garvey.
Oh, okay.
Because I love his show on Six Music, The Finest Hour on Sunday. Yeah, I think he's a beautiful songwriter, and I don't love all of Elbow's stuff, but I can definitely appreciate. And his voice is gorgeous, and I think he seems like a lovely bloke, and I'd love to be on his show. That is like dreams.
Actually, with all the orchestra and everything. Oh, really? Okay.
I had never heard anything back, but
we'll just keep tagging him until he takes notice then.
Yeah. Just because he's got a sort of Guy Garvey recommends bit, and it's like, if you know anyone, so and I'm like, hi Guy.
Yes, we know someone, Guy.
So that would be cool, but also tons of people like Laura Marling. I've always been like hugely inspired by, and she lives in Hackney as well, and I've seen her with my eyes a few times. And
you haven't been stalking her?
No, I haven't been stalking her. But also it was in lockdown as well. I saw her in Abney Park Cemetery, which is a really lovely place to go walking, and I just sort of like, I was like, oh, I didn't really know what to say, and let her pass on, and then called my sister and just like, not ashamed to say it, cried. I was so emotional. And then I've seen her again at a gig and got to talk to her, and I ended up telling her that I was an amazing fan rather than you're amazing, I'm a massive fan. I was like, I'm an amazing fan. So I'd love her to hear my songs and tell me what she thought.
Right, we'll tag her in as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. And in this dream scenario then, imagine you were on stage with either of these two artists.
Yeah.
And you could have a dream rider. We always ask
Dream
this question.
rider.
Dream rider. What would you have as your luxury item backstage waiting for you before or after the gig?
Is it just one item?
Oh, okay. I mean, go for it then.
Oh, no,
You've clearly got a list.
No. Well, I was going to say like really nice tea.
Yeah.
Because that's like a little ritual before the show. Have like a, but then also some, I don't know, like a meze platter. I could go for, just like little bits.
Fair enough.
Everybody feeds and eats well, and then some beer.
Obviously, yeah.
That'd be good. It's not high
pretty
standards.
easy. No, exactly. That's fairly low maintenance. I'll say, yeah. I mean, considering you could have anything.
Oh God, maybe that was a bit safe.
Yeah.
No, I'm a simple girl.
Okay. Fair enough.
Give me a meze and a cup of tea.
So in terms of what happens next, obviously we've got the gig coming up, as you mentioned, on the 29th of September, and then the album obviously being released, which we're really looking forward to hearing the rest of the tracks of that. Can't wait to hear more. So if people want to keep up to date with what you're doing, where can they find out more?
I'm probably most active in terms of social media on Instagram, so you can follow me there. I post about gigs and release news and things like that. I'm also building a newsletter.
Oh,
yeah. Because it's I've been told it's a very good way of sort of targeting people, and so I'll have a thing on my Instagram page where you can put in your email address.
We look forward to that. Sounds good. Yeah,
I'll get yours.
Yes, I'm on the list.
Okay,
definitely. Yeah, I look forward to that. Brilliant. Well, we're going to hear one more track from you then, which is another track from Chapter 1 of the album, which is called "He Moves Me." So tell us about this one.
"He Moves Me" is quite a sassy song. On the record, we sort of leaned into like the Latin vibes with the instrumentation, Spanishy sort of guitar and like a really sassy beat, which Fabs is brilliant at. And it's sort of I don't know, being in a situation that isn't good for you, but you kind of can't help yourself. Oh yeah, we've all been there, haven't we? Brilliant. Well, thank you, Ella. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming down.
You're welcome.
He tells me that I'm wonderful, so why do I feel cold? His taste for me is insatiable, so why is it getting old? Don't get me wrong, he moves me. I think it's time spent well, but know that he could lose me when I choose to break the spell, break the spell. He only calls me late at night. The darkness makes him bold. Then he disrobes and we delight in pleasures yet untold. No, don't get me wrong, he moves me more than I like to tell. But to be on his groove, you see, oh, it never ends well, it never ends well. Eyes long lashed and river green, I wade in, acquiesce, imbibe the scene, and we begin to swim. Don't get me wrong, he moves me, revolving carousel. Oh, but watch how he'll seduce me just to say, fare thee well, fare thee well. And he tells me that I'm wonderful. So why do I feel cold? His taste for me is insatiable. So why is he getting old?